Dan Conroy with the biggest kick of his life. Oh, they'll fake it. Bates throws it.
He's got him!
And wide open. He's got Charlie Gant inside the 10. He can walk in. Spartans win. Touchdown, MSU.
One of the more memorable moments there in a long-standing rivalry, the Little Giants play against Notre Dame, the brainchild of Mark Dantonio, who joins us now from our studio in East Lansing as the Spartans prepare for the Irish again this week. Coach, you've made no secret through the years of talking up rivalries. Where does this rivalry stand among the ones that Michigan State plays in?
Well, really going back to when I was here as an assistant coach, years ago, Notre Dame game was a very big game for us. It was a national game. Certainly when we play Notre Dame, they're all going to be like that. But, it sort of dates back to the '66 game a little bit, and there's history involved in the Notre Dame-Michigan State rivalry. It goes back even before that, with Notre Dame, the first team playing Michigan State home and away on a traditional basis. So there's a lot going on with that, but it's always been a great football game, and, you sort of measure up there a little bit.
You said to me right before we went on that it's been a while since you played. You're coming off a bye. You played the one game against Furman, and then it's just been practice since then. How did you feel about having a bye week when you did?
Well, you hope that practice makes perfect, I guess. I guess that, you can't really pick your schedule throughout, so you've got to pick and choose, when you're going to do these type of things. But, we played one game in 6 weeks' time, so we've worked a lot. We've tried to stay in condition, but, now we'll step out in the light a little bit this week, and we go 11 straight games. So it'll be an interesting test for our football team. But on the same page, I think there's advantages to the way that this happened for us naturally. We've got some guys healed up and things of that nature. So it's been a positive, and we'll take it as a positive and move forward.
And you obviously get to see your team and then try to rectify some mistakes. 10 penalties, 2 turnovers against Furman. Is it fair to say that may have come up in the time since the game?
Yeah, it's fair to say that, especially the 10 penalties. But, the thing that you have to look at that, some of them they were all forced penalties. We had no offsides, no jumping offsides, no procedure penalties. So that's the positive end of things there. But, we had some things we got to clean up from a discipline standpoint. And certainly you can't, we've been very, very good in the past in terms of always winning the turnover margin. So that's always a big key when you win a football game or lose it. So we got to come out on the front end of that this coming weekend. There's no question about that.
QB was a bit of a question mark coming into the year. How would you assess Tyler O'Connor's play in week 1?
I thought Tyler played well. Got off a little bit. Started the game, missed a couple throws, but after that was very much on target. 3 touchdown throws. Moved around in the pocket and created a little bit. Ran the ball effectively a couple times. So I thought he played well, especially his first time out. And he's only going to get better as time moves forward in terms of just feeling more comfortable, I think, in a football game. So. But, he's had these opportunities in big games before, and he played very well in the Ohio State game a year ago, which was a big football game for us. So I expect that trend to continue.
You shared the carries a lot last year, and when Jerry and Howard and I were at camp, I remember Dave Warner saying that wasn't necessarily the ideal situation heading into this year. It wasn't the case against Furman. I mean, L.J. Scott got the bulk of the carries. Do you envision a situation where you have more of a feature back here going forward and that it's L.J. Scott?
I think that really determines on how everybody's playing. We want to get a guy greased up a little bit and get him in the flow of the game, and sometimes it's difficult with 3 backs. But I do think that we have 3, maybe even 4 very good tailbacks that can sort of carry the load for us. So that's a positive that we have, but with that being said, I do think we want to try and go in the direction of having a guy that's sort of the lead guy a little bit. But all those guys have had their moments, so it's tough for me to sit there and say, hey, this guy's the guy that's going to get the bulk of those. So they need to all be ready. They got to have great practices. A lot of it hinges on the health of those players at that specific time as well, because we'll play the guy that can sort of pull the load. But it's a good problem to have. But I would agree with Dave. We'll probably go in that direction a little bit more, 2 featured backs rather than 3. But just depends on how the game's flowing as well.
As for the game this week, what's the biggest challenge this Notre Dame offense presents to you guys?
Well, I think without question, Deshaun Kaiser. He's a guy that throws the ball very effectively, throws a good ball. He stays strong in the pocket, and then he's another guy that can also create and create loose plays. So, it's the combination of both those things that make him so dangerous. I think as a quarterback, great system that they have. So, you have to play the system, and it's always changing. There's always something different you see. So we've watched a lot of film, obviously, and we've gotten ourselves ready. But it'd be a challenge for us as we move forward. Going down and playing an away game, big game, TV game. Those are always challenges for you. So we're very excited about the opportunity, and I know our guys are going to come play and be ready to play.
How do you feel specifically about your secondary matching up with Kaiser and the Irish offensive attack? It was not a great area of strength for you guys last year. Where do you feel like you are right now?
Well, we had so many guys last year going in and out of it relative to injuries. There was one game we started 3 true freshmen. So secondary play, I think our secondary in general is one of our strong points. It doesn't mean that you're going to shut everybody down, but I think we have players back there and we know what we're doing, and they can play at a fast pace. Now, they got to make plays on the deep ball. There's no question about that. You saw that in 13. I thought we made those plays, but whatever. But the ball's going to go up in the air in the deep part of the field, and we're going to have to go up and get it. Notre Dame's got good receivers. They're going to go get the ball. The ball's going to be thrown up there, and that's going to be a big part of the evening as well.
Finally, I want to ask you about Ed Davis. He has now been given that 6th year by the NCAA, cleared to play. How close is he to being ready?
I think it's a day-to-day thing with, can he play 100%, and is he better at 80% or 85% than the guys playing in front of him or behind him? So that's a combination of both. So we need to see him do a little bit more, maybe actively as we go through this. But he's going to play. I anticipate him playing or being ready to play, and then we'll sort of gauge it from there. But the guys that, Ed's an outstanding football player. He's a difference maker on the field. Not just in his play, but in his leadership as well. And so it's going to be exciting to watch him evolve here. It may be this week, it may be the week after, but he's coming. So that's the positive thing here.
The head coach of the Spartans, Mark Dantonio, as his team gets ready for the Fighting Irish this week. Coach, always appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much for having us on. Go Green.